Welcome to Becoming Limitless. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs who want to optimize their brain and their body with biohacking. I'm going to teach you how to eliminate brain fog and upgrade your health so you can have more productivity, energy, and growth in your business. I'm your host, Tanessa Shears. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the Becoming Limitless podcast. I'm Tanessa Shears. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. We are talking about CEO night routines. Specifically, we're talking about things that have to be part of every CEO night routine in order to have highly focused mornings that are full of energy that lead to productive days in your business. Now, I don't know about you, but I really enjoy going on YouTube, having a cup of coffee and going on YouTube and watching night routines and morning routines and seeing how successful people organize their day. Like, what are the common things and themes and habits that highly successful people incorporate into their day before they go to bed or when they wake up. And I really love watching these and trying out different things to see what works. So what we're going to be talking about today is the biohacker's sleep routine. We're going to be talking about my top biohacks that have created wonderful sleep that has allowed me to be very present and energized and productive during the day. So the last couple episodes, we talked about, how important it is to regulate your circadian rhythm, to get enough sleep, and to have high quality sleep. Now that you know that that's important, we need to know how to create that sleep. And it's always going to start with what you do in the hours before bed. So as CEOs, we are going to take charge of our routines and we're going to start implementing today. We are going to be biohacking our sleep routine. Now, before I developed a consistent sleep routine for myself, I was just kind of leaving everything up to chance. Like some nights I would end up watching a couple extra TV shows that would run me till 10 o'clock at night and then I'd go straight to sleep. Some nights I'd go to bed at 9 o'clock and then at 11. My sleep was all over the place. Sometimes I was, staring at screens until right before I went to bed. And sometimes I was really good about it. And this inconsistent pattern of behaviors always set me up for inconsistent sleeps, which ultimately led to inconsistent productivity the next day and energy that was just all over the place. And I knew that if I wanted to grow my business and really start to expand the capacity of what I was able to get done in a day effectively, I knew that my sleep, I had to treat it a lot better and I had to stop leaving my sleep quality up to chance. Now, I know how much better that I feel on days I rest well. I talk about this with my clients all the time, and you know it as well. The amount of stuff that you get done in a day when you are well rested, the mood that you approach your business with, the way we interact with our clients and our customers, it's entirely different on the days you feel well rested. So I always wonder, why don't we want to do that all the time? And it really comes down to knowing how you want to feel tomorrow. And I always love to think every time I'm, veering from my nighttime routine or I'm scrolling on Instagram or I'm staying up late watching TV, is this more important than how I'm going to feel all day tomorrow in my business? And I really like to ask myself that because when I wake up well rested, I have amazingly productive days and I don't feel the need anymore to waste my nights on the couch when I understand what it feels like to be really productive during the day. And I think one of the main things that I experience when working with my clients when they say it's hard to stick to a night routine is because they have this idea that their days are so busy that their nights need to be me time, meaning they worked in their business all day and then they came home and they maybe had to cook dinner or get a little bit extra work done, answer some emails, spend time with family, prep for tomorrow. Like it really feels like you're on this hamster wheel. So by the time everything is shut off for the night, maybe your kids are put to bed, the dogs have been walked, you come home and you just really want that me time and you want to zone out and have that brainless time. And that's often what I find is the biggest barrier that is preventing my clients from staying consistent with their night routine. But what we need to recognize is that we are prioritizing how we are feeling in the moment, that need for that instant gratification, relaxation on the couch. We're prioritizing that over how we feel the next day. And it ends up being a perpetual cycle. So we wake up, we stay up that night watching, TV and having our me time, which makes us, go to bed late. We're exposed to blue light. we're not going to have that great of a sleep. So we wake up the next day and we feel exhausted all day. So our work feels like a grind instead of something we enjoy and we get to do. And we go through our day and we're so tired that by the time we get home and we finish with, like what I said before, walk the dog, make the food, hang out with your kids, hang out with your partner. By the time all that is done, you're so wiped out again because you were not well slept during the day. So it creates this cycle of creating habits the night before to make up for the tired day, which lead to a tired day the next day. So what I'm going to ask of you is to put a stop to that cycle and start taking care of your night routine. Like, the ideal goal is to wake up feeling refreshed and feeling energized and feeling really good. And that starts the night before, because if we can feel, productive and excited during the day, we get way more done. That way, we leave work feeling successful, like we got everything done we needed to. We come home, we actually enjoy the downtime with family. We get to be present and it feels good and it feels fulfilling, and our deep quality downtime is rewarding. And then we don't need to do that mindless scrolling and TV watching to recover, because we don't need to recover from our day. So this is the argument I'm going to make of why I want you to commit for 1 week after you design your night routine to stick to it and evaluate how much better your days are, and that you don't need that mindless recovery at the end of the day because you're enjoying your life so much better. So that is the goal of going over all the biohacks I'm going to teach you and how to improve your sleep routine so that you can not only enjoy your business and be better at it and have a more productive day, but so you don't mess up that night needing to recover from an exhausted day. So if you've listened to much of my work before, you know that I am a data and a numbers person. I am obsessed with monitoring my sleep, with seeing how I can improve it, watching what my deep sleep and my REM sleep numbers are and my sleep duration. And I found that when I put a sleep routine into place and being consistent with it, the sleep numbers, oh my God, they drastically improved. And I'm talking like seeing as much as 20, 30, 40 minutes more in duration per night, even though I've spent the exact same amount of time attempting to sleep. So that sleep opportunity window, my REM sleep and my deep sleep went up. Like, I was seeing better efficiency, meaning I was spending less time awake. And I started to see like, oh my goodness, it's not just about getting a good sleep. It's about the morning that I want to create really starts the night before. So I became really dedicated to this quality sleep routine. And I'm going to be talking to you today about the top 8 things that must be in a night routine. And I'm going to go over examples of what you can include, but these are going to be the things that you're going to want to have as part of your evening. And then I'm going to go through my specific routine so I can show you how I implemented these biohacks into my own life. So the first biohack we're going to be covering is about exercising before bed. The rule of thumb is you want to finish your exercising at least 3 hours before you plan to shut your eyes, hop into bed, and fall asleep. And there's actually a reason for that. Your body temperature when you're exercising, it rises, right? We're heating up. So think about that's why you start sweating, your heart rate picks up. Something else also starts to happen when you exercise. You have a hormone called cortisol, and it's a stress hormone, and it rises when you exercise. So when you're doing your workout, your body heats up and your stress hormone goes up. Both of those things are not conducive to a good sleep. So if you are exercising like half an hour or an hour before you plan to go to sleep, your body temperature is going to be too high in order to help with melatonin release, and it is going to give you trouble falling asleep, and you're going to have a restless sleep. The other thing is cortisol is going to be too high. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone. Your body needs to be in a relaxed state in order to fall asleep and stay in a rested sleep. So you want to allow enough time between the end of your workout and when you fall asleep for that body temperature to cool right down and for your cortisol to drop. Now, one of my favorite biohacks to help with this, especially, because we can't always have perfectly timed workouts. It really depends on a lot of other factors going on in our life. So yeah, there are definitely some nights where I finish my workout at 7 p.m. and I'm asleep by 9 p.m. and that's only 2 hours. But there are some things that you can do to actually help this process along. And one of them is to drink decaf green tea before you go to bed. So there is an amino acid in the green tea leaves called L-theanine. So what it does is it's in the leaves, this little amino acid, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So that's a protective layer that is between our blood vessels and the cerebrospinal fluid in our brain that protects us from stuff we don't want getting in there. So this amino acid called L-theanine crosses into that blood-brain barrier about 30 minutes after you have a green tea, and it improves mental relaxation. It reduces that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight activity, and lowers your blood pressure. It also helps to reduce cortisol and that angsty feeling or the high energy feeling you have after a workout. It helps reduce anxiety. So it is essentially one of the biohacks that you can use to help bring down your cortisol levels prior to bed if you needed to exercise a little bit later. So the second biohack we're going to be incorporating into our nighttime routine is about when we finish our last meal. So the recommendation is to finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. So if I have my 9 p.m. bedtime, I want to be finished eating by 6, at latest 7 p.m. When you eat food, it causes an increase in heart rate, which is going to help you digest your food. So like we said, your body needs to be in a relaxed state in order to fall asleep and stay asleep and have a restful sleep. Another hallmark of high quality sleep is actually a drop in heart rate. So if you eat right before bed and your body is digesting as you're trying to sleep, that rise in heart rate does not allow your body to recover properly and to have a deep sleep. So it'll be a much more restless sleep and a much less quality sleep than what you'd like. So we want to wrap up eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. Now, on the same note of food, it's kind of like a mini biohack in here. You want to make sure that you wrap up all alcohol consumption at 6 p.m. at the very latest, if at all. I highly recommend for good quality sleep that you cut alcohol out on the days where you want to be fully present and functional the next morning. We want high performance sleep. So alcohol is directly going to lead to poor performance because it sedates the frontal lobe of the brain. So what happens is we don't actually get that deep quality sleep at the beginning of the night because our brain actually never falls asleep. It's just heavily sedated. When the sedation of the alcohol wears off, we're often waking up to pee and having fitful sleep. So it disrupts our entire sleep. Particularly, it really disrupts REM sleep because we are coming out of that sedation and unable to have that quality of sleep. So if you're noticing that you're not getting quality REM sleep, have a look at if there is alcohol in your evening routine. If you want to really look at high quality sleep, you're going to want to cut it out completely. But I know that that's not everyone's cup of tea, so to speak, and you want to have a glass of wine at the end of the night. Really cut it off as early as you can, even looking at 6 p.m. at the very latest. Biohack number 3 is going to be about the temperature of the bedroom that you sleep in. So when I'm getting ready for bed, usually an hour or two before bed, I'll head up to my bedroom and actually turn the thermostat down. Our comfortable house temperature sits at somewhere between about 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, and we enjoy that during the day. But during the nighttime, the optimal sleep temperature is actually closer to 18 degrees Celsius. And for those of you guys that use Fahrenheit, that's about 65 degrees. So I like to go up to the bedroom, an hour or two early and turn the temperature down so the room has time to drop. So right when I'm ready to go to sleep, the temperature is cooling off a little bit. This little bit of a drop in temperature allows your body to cool. It helps with melatonin productions. That helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. So turning the temperature down to 18 degrees Celsius or 65 Fahrenheit is going to be a great addition to your nighttime routine to help you sleep soundly. Our fourth biohack is going to be about the blue light that you are exposing your eyes to before bed. So we're going to do a whole episode in the future on blue light and its effects on our productivity, our energy during the day, our brain health. But to keep it simple, there is a wavelength of light that's emitted from your screens, whether that be your computer or your tablet or your phone or your TV, and it's called blue light. And our brains are actually really sensitive to this wavelength of light. And what it does is it kind of puts the brakes on melatonin. If you haven't heard of melatonin before, it's the hormone that kind of signals the body, hey, it's time to start winding down for go to sleep, let's go. And we need that hormone to effectively fall asleep and have sound sleep during the night. So in order to help manage the blue light exposure we see at the end of the night so we can go to sleep soundly, I set a timer on all of my devices at least 90 minutes before bed to start weaning out the blue light from my devices and my screens and to start incorporating more red and orange lights in my screens. So if you kind of think about it, like if you were to sit outside and watch the sunset, it would start from a beautiful blue sky day. And as the sun set, you would slowly see more yellow lights and orange lights and red lights before it goes dark. This is the same way we want to treat our brain. So on our devices, our phones, we have blue light filters. They're really easy to put on. I know I have an Android device and the app it's actually just in the setting menu. It's called blue light filter. On iOS devices, it's called night shift. And on your computers and your tablets and stuff like that, you can actually develop an app called Flux. And I'm going to link all of this in the show notes in the description if you want to actually check these out. But you can schedule them to start weaning out the blue light and putting in more red light as the evening progresses, so that right before bed, my screens are actually all red and orange, so that I'm not stimulating my brain and keeping melatonin from doing its job of putting me to sleep. So we're wanting to make sure that our blue light filters are scheduled to go on at least 90 minutes before bed on all of our devices. Now, the fifth biohack that I have for you, your brain is going to want to resist it, but I really want you to consider this as an option for your night routine. As CEOs, we are plugged in all day, from the moment we wake up to our computers, to our clients, to our social media, to everything like that. So one of the most effective ways you can take care of your brain is to turn devices off at a certain time. Have a cutoff for when all technology turns off so that you can let your brain unwind. Now, I do want to make a point in saying, even though we're talking about, nighttime routines and the great hacks that you can put in here, this doesn't mean you have to be perfect every single night. There are definitely some nights that I will watch TV with the blue light filter on and I'll stay up a little bit later. Or there'll be some nights where I don't turn my devices off. But the majority of the nights, I always like to think, like I said, how do I want to feel the next day, and make the decision from there. And so you don't have to be perfect on these, but this is something you want to work towards as more of a consistent way of taking care of your brain. So setting a time to have your devices turn off so you can let your brain unwind, so that you can unplug from everyone else's thoughts and opinions and the politics and the drama and everything going on online. We spend so much time scrolling on social media and Instagram, and it is essentially just other people's beliefs being presented to us. And we have to constantly process all of this incoming feedback, whether we agree with it, whether we don't, whether we engage with it. And our brains are completely wound up at the end of the night. So I really want you to take that time, as much as 30 minutes, 60 minutes before bed, to turn off your devices and let your brain unload. Give it space so you can focus on one thing at a time. Brushing your teeth, just brushing your teeth, getting your pajamas on, washing your face, having a shower, things that you don't have to have your focus fractured by all of the different information coming in. This is such a wonderful way to wind down and turn down the volume on all of the noise of your day for your brain before you fall asleep. So our sixth biohack is about switching to red. Now, there are a couple of ways that we can go about this. And when I say switch to red, I mean switch to red lighting. There are these really cheap light bulbs on Amazon that you can get, and you can put them into your lamps or your overhead lighting, and it allows the light to go red instead of the bright white light that is keeping our brain awake. So anywhere, 60 to 90 minutes before bed, I like to put the red light bulbs on if I'm using those. But what I've actually found is more effective for me is I purchased a pair of blue light blocking glasses that actually have red light or red lenses in them, so that they filter out the majority of blue, green, and violet light that's coming into my eyes, so that it's majority red and majority orange. And this again helps melatonin production, helps us calm down, helps switch off the, fight or flight nervous system and get ready for bed. So I'm going to leave a link to the ones that I actually use in the description. I really, really love those. I can feel my body calming down. I often find that, right before I fall asleep, I've become so drowsy from having these glasses on, and I've fallen asleep mid-conversation on more than one occasion wearing these. So they are a fantastic opportunity to help you not only filter blue light, but to help your brain wind down. So like I said, switch to red doesn't just have to be switching on the red light bulbs in your home, but it can also just be putting on a pair of red lens glasses to help filter out all the white and blue light that is stimulating your brain to thinking it's daytime. Biohack number 7 is to have a shower before bed. Now, if you're coming from the gym or somewhere where your body temperature was elevated, this is a great time to have a cold shower. This will help bring down that elevated body temperature that you have created by exercising. So the other thing you can do is you can have a hot shower, but what you want to do is allow your body to experience a drop in temperature. So what you don't want to do is go have a nice hot shower, wrap yourself in your fleecy pajamas, get under the blanket with a heating bag or a hot water bottle. This doesn't allow your body temperature to drop. And body temperature dropping, like I said before, is one of those key things in helping melatonin start ramping up so you can fall asleep at night. You want to allow that body temperature to drop. So if you do have a hot shower, let yourself air dry. Dress slightly cooler than you would expect and allow yourself to get a little cold before bed. So this in combination, with turning down the temperature in your bedroom is really going to help you have a better sleep. The last and final biohack that every CEO should have as part of their night routine is to do something to proactively calm down your nervous system. If you've had a hectic day at work, or maybe it was busy, or you had a disagreement with your partner, or maybe you've just spent too much time on social media today, you might find that you're feeling a little flighty, where you're kind of feeling like your breathing is shallow and your brain is going. And if you're one of those people that lay down at night to fall asleep and your brain will not stop racing, this is something you must incorporate into your night routine. So there are so many different ways that you can calm down your nervous system, and it's about experimenting and finding out what works best for you. So I'm going to give you a whole bunch of options here that I have tried and that are well researched to help you calm your nervous system down. So one of the things that you can do is breath work, and this simply looks like paying attention to your breathing. You don't need to have your eyes closed. You don't need fancy music. You just need to pay attention. So there's a really neat breathing technique that I've learned. It's called square breathing. And what it allows you to do is really focus on your breathing. So all you have to do is try this. I'm going to get you to inhale on my count of 4. So take a deep breath in. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 2, 3, 4. So it essentially makes a square. You inhale, you hold, you exhale, you hold. And what this allows you to do is calm your breathing down. This will bring your fight or flight down. It'll bring your cortisol down, and it really helps you settle in for the night. Other options that you can do to calm your nervous system include some gentle stretching. You can read a book. I highly recommend reading fiction before bed. For me personally, I know that if I'm reading anything personal development related or business related or health related, all I want to do is go and either create content or work back in my business. It fires my brain up again. So I have made a rule for myself personally that fiction comes before bed. It's really just going to help me wind down. It kind of lets I like to think of it like this. Like, how when you're dreaming at night and you have all these stories playing out in your head, I kind of feel like reading fiction is a beautiful transition into sleep where you're going to dream because your brain is telling stories to itself. You're imagining things. I find it's kind of a beautiful transition into sleep. So other options, you can meditate, and that can be either silently or you can do a guided meditation using an app. You could write. You could sit and write in a journal, or you could, write out all your thoughts, do a brain dump for the next day. You could spend time talking to your partner or your family. All of these things where you are present and you are focused on being relaxed and enjoying the moment. These are the biohacks that must be incorporated into every single CEO nighttime routine. So I'm going to review them again really quickly. Number 1, you want to finish exercising at least 3 hours before bed. Wrap up your last meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. Turn the temperature down in your bedroom to 18 degrees Celsius or 65 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal sleep temperature. Schedule blue light filters on all your devices to power down the blue light at least 90 minutes before bed. Switch any devices off and allow your brain to unwind, whether that be 30 minutes, 60 minutes, hour and a half, whatever works for you. Biohack number 6 is switch to red lights, whether that be, red lens blue light blocking glasses or red light bulbs. Have a shower before bed. And lastly, spend time proactively and focused calming your nervous system down. So I'm going to share my night routine with you and how I have actually put that into action. So I want you to keep in mind right now, I have a 9.5-month-old baby, and my rhythm, my sleep circadian rhythm, I have it set to 9 to 5:30. This means I am asleep by 9 and usually up by 5:30 at the latest. Now I want you to know, just because we've gone over this wonderful night routine, it does not mean you have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. This is when I wake up based on the circadian reset that I did. If you want more information on this, definitely check out episode 2 of the podcast. But I want you to think of it as more of the order I do things before I go to sleep. So if you wanted to adopt things from my night routine and you go to sleep at 11, just think about this as the order of things that I do instead of at the exact times. It's only a rough idea too, because I do want to say that 3 nights per week, I finish with clients late. So 6:30, 7, even 8 o'clock on some nights. So my routine sometimes get bumps later. Sometimes I pick and choose what I do that night because I only have an hour instead of my usual 2-hour wind down. So on the nights where I am working late, I just pick up mid-routine. It doesn't need to be perfect. This is just what I aim for, and it gives me something to work towards. So let's jump into what would be my ideal nighttime routine. If all variables were good and I could follow it exactly, this is what it looks like on most nights. So by 6 p.m., I'm usually wrapping up my workout if I had an evening workout. If I'm having a morning workout, then this doesn't really apply. So 6 p.m., I'm wrapping up my workout. From 6:30 to 7 p.m., I'm usually finishing dinner on the nights where I'm at home and not with clients. By 7:30 p.m., we aim to have the TV completely off, and that's where it turns off at the end of the night. We don't turn it back on again. And this is when I go and put my daughter to sleep. So we are, getting her ready for bed and reading her stories, and we're having our quiet time with her in a darkened room so that she's getting ready to sleep. And I put her to sleep, and usually by then it's about 8 p.m. So this is when I go into the bedroom and I will turn the bedroom temperature down to 18 degrees Celsius. And at this time, I'm going to go and pop my red lensed glasses on. So we're at 8 p.m. Now, from here, I usually go downstairs and I take about 5 minutes organizing my to-dos for the next day on Trello. So I organize my entire life, my business, everything organized on Trello. It's pretty much just like a free project planning software that can be an app or it can be on a web browser. I use it all the time religiously. So I'll go down and I'll kind of pick out the most important tasks that I'm going to do the next day so that I'm fully set up and ready to go. So that takes me about 5 minutes. And after that, it's like usually about 8:05, 8:10. And I'm going to tidy the kitchen and do what I call closing the house. So, you kind of put the pillows back where they belong, tidy any toys that have been left out, put some last minute dishes in the dishwasher, maybe set it to start for the next morning. I close down the house, lights go off, everything is clean so that when I come down and start tomorrow, everything is fresh. By 8:30 p.m., I head upstairs and I have a warm shower and I allow myself to cool down. So I'll usually put on pajamas slightly cooler than what I think I need for the night. I'll allow myself to air dry while I'm, brushing my teeth and getting ready for bed and aiming to go to bed, just like I said, a little bit cool. So by about 8:50, this is when I hop into bed and I use a very cool app that actually really helps me wind down. And this is something I'm also going to do an episode on in the future, but it is called Brain FM and it allows my brain to wind down for the night. And there have been some times where, I plug this app in and I have it in my headphones and I'm reading at night and I have found that my heart rate can drop to 51 beats per minute. That's how relaxed I am listening to this app. So I'll leave a description to it in the show notes. But like I said, this is part of my night routine. I'll plug in the app and I'll turn on my sound machine. I do have a sound machine that I use in my room to help block out any external noises. So this can be anything from my husband turning over in bed. He might snore, the cat might run around downstairs. So this really helps me create a neutral soundscape so that I'm not being woken up, when the cat decides to knock something over downstairs. So I have my app plugged in, I'm reading, sound machine goes on, and I'm going to read till about 9 p.m. And to be quite frank, I can only stay awake until maybe 9:15 at the very most, and I usually fall asleep reading. So at that point, I'll pretty much wake up. I will take out my earplugs or my headphones. I'll put in actually foam earplugs instead to help me sleep really well. And I'm falling asleep anywhere between 9 and 9:30 at night. And that's pretty much my evening routine. And I don't spend any time setting an alarm because I wake up like give or take 15 minutes at the same time almost every single day. And it's so weird. I get almost exactly 7 hours and 40 minutes of sleep on the majority of nights with this routine because my body is so accustomed to it. So having a nighttime routine, as you can see, it can be totally fit to the time you go to sleep. It can be fit to your life circumstances. Like what I said right now is I have a baby right now, and so it can be fit into your life. And I really want you to consider what I have shared with you today, not only from my personal routine, but what of the 8 points we went over would be a welcome change. Even if you just took away 2 or 3 of your favorite tips and started doing that today and put it into play for a week and just see what your life looks like when you are getting into more routine and having better sleep. So before we wrap up today, there's one more thing I want to tell you about that I'm actually kind of excited about. I have been creating, and it is finally ready to be released, a free playbook. It's called 12 Ways to Biohack Your Energy. It's all about how to create highly focused mornings and productive days in your business. And in this playbook, this free PDF download, I talk about my top 12 biohacks that are going to help you get out of bed with enough energy to get all that stuff done on your to-do list that actually matters. So in it, I'm giving 12 biohacks that you can take action on, like literally as soon as you read it. They're not super fancy. You don't have to go buy a bunch of stuff. They're things you can take action on right now that is going to help you eliminate brain fog. You know what I'm talking about? The brain fog that makes you reach for the extra pot of coffee in the afternoon and then crash on the couch at 5 p.m. So biohacking, as we talked about before, is the best strategy for you if you want to be a highly productive CEO and get more done in your day than some do in an entire week. So if you want to grab my free Entrepreneurs Biohacking Playbook, all about the 12 ways to biohack your energy and start waking up clear and energized, head to TanessaShears.com/playbook. That's TanessaShears.com/playbook. And I will leave a link in the description. It's a free download. I'd love for you to enjoy that. Otherwise, it has been wonderful having you here. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes, and leave a review if you're finding this useful and there is stuff in here that you are putting in action and you find that it is changing how you feel each day. Leave a review. I would be so thankful if you would take a moment to do that. Otherwise, have a beautiful week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Ready to begin each day feeling energized and focused? I'd love to work with you one-on-one. In my Becoming Limitless program, you're going to learn how to optimize your brain and body with science and biohacking so you can be highly productive and grow your business faster. Join me over at TanessaShears.com/work with me. I'll see you there.